With Steve Austin preparing for WrestleMania and worries over William Regal's health, this is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report for March 11th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. During the Signed by Superstars virtual signing, Jeff Hardy touched on his debut in AEW this week, saying it was great. It's always nerve-wracking to appear in a new world. After I went out there and felt the energy of the people, it felt extremely right. With many options for future feuds and matches in the company, Jeff mentioned getting to work with CM Punk again, as he said, very excited. There is so much history there. When he made his mark on NXT, Riddle caused issues between himself and the likes of Brock Lesnar due to him saying he wanted to retire the Beast. On Adam's Apple, Riddle said he has not given up on a singles match with Brock. I really want that one-on-one match with Lesnar, that'd be good. But there's a lot of talent out there. You got the Edges, me and Randy are partners, but you never know. We might wrestle one day, there's a lot. After debuting for WWE in 1999, Chris Jericho would find himself in hot water backstage. In one instance mentioned on the Kurt Angle show, Jericho said he had heat for calling The Undertaker boring. My second promo, I called Undertaker boring. I said, you're boring, and really, the worst thing is, we laugh about it till this day. He had just done the super long, ridiculously boring promo about taking Big Show to the desert, trying to teach him how to be tough, and feeding him scorpion meat and drinking water out of a puddle, and it just dragged on and on. I was supposed to cut him off and call him boring, but this night he really was boring. What was supposed to get heat, a lot of people were like, well, we can't argue with that, and I was simply far too dumb to realize it, and it ended up getting heat on me. Jericho would also note that he and Triple H never had the best relationship during his time in WWE. There was a lot of politics at that time, and when I say this, it's not from a bitter point of view or an angry point of view, it's just the way it was. So to come in, there was a lot of legit heat between Hunter and myself. It involved China. It involved a little bit of X-Pac as well, but Hunter and I just didn't like each other. I think Hunter had such pull at the time, such power, that if he didn't like me, of course, even if he is not going out of his way to bury me to Vince, I'm sure every time my name came up, he would go, oh, that guy? Come on. It just was kind of the way the business worked at the time. So I think that might have had a lot to do with it. At WrestleMania 2000, Jericho was set to be involved in a fatal 4-way main event, but would be replaced by Big Show, as Chris revealed his heat with Triple H could have been the reason behind this change. I think that was probably one of the reasons, and once again, I'm not saying I've heard this, I just can tell. I can read the room, the past that we had. We're cool now, but at the time, we just didn't like each other. It just didn't work. So that had a lot to do with my standing of where I was at the time. Also on the Kurt Angle show, Chris Jericho recalled his match against John Cena at Vengeance 2002. Jericho noted how Vince McMahon was confused when he said he wanted Cena to win that bout. I called Vince one night when Cena was first starting out, first pay-per-view, and I said, Vince, you have to let me put this guy over. He said, why? He doesn't mean anything. I said he could mean something, but if you just put him on this pay-per-view and I win, then what's the point? Because he had just done the big match with you, Kurt Angle, and it was great, and you beat him as you should have. But if we keep beating him, it doesn't matter. During Monday Night Raw this week, Bron Breakker made his main roster debut, teaming up with Ciampa to defeat the Dirty Dogs in tag team action. On After the Bell, Corey Graves recalled Breakker's Raw debut, saying, I really did think that Bron had a great showing for himself on Monday nights. You can notice it. You could feel it in Cleveland. When Bron made his entrance, a lot of the WWE universe just were not sure. They were not sure who this guy is, because unless you watch NXT, you wouldn't really know. With Steve Austin looking to make a return at WrestleMania to give Kevin Owens a stunner, Kurt Angle noted on the Zaslow show that Stone Cold is the best wrestler he's ever worked with. Number 1, his character was so strong. People absolutely loved him or they hated him when he was a heel, but his intensity in the ring is unmatched. His in-ring psychology is incredible. He's one of the very few guys that can improvise out in the ring and change these spots and change things and go back to what it was originally. He knows how to improvise very well, so he has all the knacks for business. This guy will go down in history as the absolute most popular WWE superstar. Taking to Instagram a few days back, Becky Lynch revealed she would be taking time off due to an injury she suffered during a house show. Now, it was confirmed in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that she will be returning soon. Lynch was injured working the main event on the March 6th show in Allentown, Pennsylvania. The injury was announced as a fractured voice box, which is why she wasn't on Raw. She was backstage at the show. She said she will be back on television next week. The Wrestling Observer would also note WWE's plans for Olympic gold medalist Gable Steveson, saying he will also be fast-tracked to the main roster. The idea is for him to be another Brock Lesnar. Steveson previously mentioned that Lesnar was a huge influence on him signing with WWE, as it'll be interesting to see what's next for him. With her coming back to WWE to win the Women's Royal Rumble, Ronda Rousey is set to face Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania for the SmackDown Women's title. On a Facebook stream, Rousey revealed her plans in WWE. "Yes, I am staying in WWE after WrestleMania 38. I'll be staying for a while. I just had a baby. I'm not ready to have another one yet, so I'll be staying around till we're ready for number 2 or number 4. Previously, reports pointed out that the plan is for Ronda to be involved in not only this year's WrestleMania, but next year's as well. During AEW Dynamite this week, William Regal cut a promo talking about how he came to know Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley. Regal would also note that he does not have much time left, as the Observer pointed out that his health issues could be more serious than previously thought. Regal mentioned about having limited time left, and it freaked people out. While Regal openly, in his autobiography and in public appearances, has talked extensively about substance abuse issues that nearly killed him a generation ago, that basically killed his career until he and Chris Benoit had a great match at the Brian Pillman Memorial Show one year, and he was so good a renewed interest in him, and he worked for WWE for a long period of time after being brought back. Apparently, Regal's health issues at this stage are far more serious than have ever come out, and there is an interview that will be released next week that he did for Talk Is Jericho that will detail them. The man himself has called this into question, taking to Twitter to write, "Already. That's why I stay out of the rumor mill and gossip. I've just found out that there's things being printed about my health. I am healthier than I've been in many years. I talked this week to someone about things that happened to me in 2018. While a match between Steve Austin and Kevin Owens was never really on the cards, according to Ringside News, the Observer noted that Stone Cold is doing cardio to prepare for a fight sequence at Mania. It is being billed as the Kevin Owens talk show with Austin as guest on the Saturday show on April 2nd. It is planned for more than just a stunner, although the stunner would appear to be the obvious conclusion. There was still talk about an angle leading to a match if Austin were to agree to it, but they felt they needed to announce Austin on the show this week. What we do know is that Austin has been upping his cardio, so the plan is for a fight scene, and not just a quick stunner. When it comes to Cody Rhodes making his way to WWE, rumors have been going around that he could be appearing at WrestleMania for a match against Seth Rollins. Dave Meltzer confirmed this was planned at one point, saying WWE's creative team were told this week to hold off on working on Rhodes versus Rollins until Rhodes signs the contract, because they had already worked on it and then had to stop everything when they weren't sure if Rhodes was coming, but it was not a dead deal. Additionally, WrestleVotes would note that with 9 matches official for Mania so far, not including KO Austin, source states to expect up to 7 more matches to be announced. The biggest domino yet to fall is Seth Rollins, for obvious reasons. While a match between the Briscoe brothers and FTR has been hinted at for months now, it seems the former ROH Tag Team Champions ran into some trouble getting signed by AEW. According to Fightful, a Warner Media official does not want them signing with the promotion. It should be stated that we're not even sure of the interest on All Elite Wrestling's part, but it was confirmed to us by Warner Media sources that a person of influence in the company did not want the duo signed to AEW, specifically due to Jay Briscoe's homophobic tweets from 2013. One of the biggest stars in pro wrestling history, Hulk Hogan has had an incredible career. During an interview on the Two-Man Power Trip podcast, Hogan confirmed he will not be wrestling again. The first one I'm trying to pick off would be Roman Reigns, then I'd like to get to Brock Lesnar, but good God, I'd be in a wheelchair by the time I get done with that. I don't need no rematch with Brock. I'm good. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.